Welcome to Sausage on a Fork, a podcast dedicated to the UK's longest running children's drama programme, Grange Hill. My name's Neil, and in each episode I'll interview a former cast member about their life before, during and after their time on the programme. Okay, welcome to the next episode of Sausage on a Fork. I'm very pleased to say that I've been joined by Renee Montemayor, who played Briony Jones. Renee, welcome to Sausage on a Fork.
Oh, thank you, Neil. It's lovely to be here and connect with you finally after all this time.
Thank you for coming on. Okay, what we'll do, Renee, is we'll start right back at the beginning. And if you can tell us how you got into acting.
Wow. Well, it started when I was really young. I was 4 years old.
Right.
And there was the production of The King and I at the London Palladium playing at the time with Yul Brynner and Virginia McKenna in it.
Wow.
And I had we had a family friend, an auntie, not a real auntie, but we call her auntie, Tita, we call her. And she was working the lights up there. And she was saying, she told my parents, they're looking for children to play the royal children in The King and I. Would Renee be interested in it? And my parents said, I don't know, let's put her up for it. And then I got the bug, enjoyed it, got the part of Princess Ying Yaoluk. I was 4 years old, and at the time my parents didn't really know about showbiz, how theatre worked here. So they didn't realise that I had a script to learn. The little paragraph at the end, this farewell speech that's a tearjerker, that's the end of the show. And I was 4 years old, and I kept going up to them on their mahjong nights. If anyone knows, that's like a Chinese game, it's like cards with their friends almost. And they'd have mahjong nights, and I would interrupt their mahjong, and they would always shoo me away and go, yeah, later, darling, later. And they'd have all their guests and everything. So I would go to the bedroom, and luckily I'd started reading at that time. I taught myself to read it.
Wow.
And with the director of the show as well. I mean, they coached me in rehearsals. But my opening night with Yul Brynner on stage, being my dad, and my parents sitting in the front row, my mum nearly fainted. She absolutely nearly collapsed. This tiny little 4-year-old me bringing out these lines, bringing the house down at the end of the show. And she felt so guilty. She said, I couldn't breathe. I was going to faint. I felt so bad that we kept shooing you away. Oh. But made you proud. And that was the beginning. And all throughout, they sent me to normal school and all that. And then later on, when I was in secondary school, I kind of went, I kind of want to pursue this as a career.
Yeah.
So then they sent me to Sylvie Young's theatre school. I did some classes there, and then later on it was Miss Saigon was my next.
Right, but I mean, what a start there! 4 years old with Yul Brynner, that's nuts. That's incredible. I mean, one of the questions I always ask is, did you get to work with anyone? But that's that's an amazing introduction, isn't it? There's not I don't think you can't really top that, can you? I mean, for your first job to be on stage, wow, that's Yul Brynner and Virginia McKenna, that's quite a start. So which school did you go to after that? Sorry.
So I did. I wasn't full time,
right?
Because I was, going to normal school. So I went to Sylvie Young's theatre school part time,
right?
And in the summer schools and things like that. Yeah, and and then Miss Saigon came into town when I was 15, I think. In the 80s. I'm going to show my age now. In the 80s, it came into town, and of course I loved it, watched it. I couldn't get it out of my head, was singing the songs. It was so emotional and beautiful, and I said, I'm going to be in that. And they had the Miss Saigon school set up here by Mary Hammond and Cameron McIntosh, the producer, set it up, because they couldn't find Asians who could, in this country, who could sing, dance and act. There are not enough actors who could do what it required in the show, triple threats. So they decided to train us up because it was cheaper than flying people over from around the world, from Asia. Right? So I was part of that program. So that was part of my training as well. And then I got into the show on my 18th birthday.
Wow.
And not only got into the show, but also played the lead role, understudied and played the lead role, which is a dream come true.
So wow, that's again, that's amazing as well. So while you were doing the Sylvia Young, while you were there, did you get any other work, or did you get to work with anyone else as well?
Yeah, when I was there, I got lots of commercial work.
Right.
So lots of different commercials. Was it Kool-Aid drinks? I think was American, but one of my first, and it's with the big UFO that we all had to react to.
Yeah.
gutted there wasn't actually a UFO, just a green screen, but
yeah.
that's
Was there anyone else at Sylvia Young with you? Like, was there any sort of anyone, any names we might know?
Do you remember Kelly Bright?
Oh yeah, the upper hands and
Yes, I
EastEnders and
worked with
stuff.
her. Yeah,
Wow.
Kelly. Oh gosh, going way back. Oh, I can't remember now. I remember Kelly because we used to talk.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
Yeah.
And so then, was it always the theatre that you were mainly interested in working in? Is that?
Well, good question. No, I wanted to do everything.
Right.
So the theatre was my jumping off point. And then while I was at Miss Saigon, obviously I got myself an agent, and I continued training as well. I went to RADA for a summer. I just wanted to keep growing and learning and being the best actress that I could be. So yeah, loads of classes, independent classes everywhere, just hooked on expanding, my knowledge. And working with different people. But I've done a lot of commercial work and obviously TV. Yeah. Grange Hill, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah. We'll come on to that.
Yeah. Hollyoaks, Coronation Street, loads.
Yeah. I mean, because you've mentioned a few there. The first one, and I always apologize for this. My source of information is IMDb, which I know isn't always the most reliable thing. But the first one that's down for television was Teenage Health Freak. And you were in. I mean, you figured quite heavily in that program, and 12 episodes, I think it was, and you played a character called Lindsay. Was that your first sort of like major television?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. I
Right.
should have looked at my CV before this interview. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, I think that was while I was at Sylvia Young's, I think.
Right. Okay. I mean, you probably should have looked. I could tell you anything here, and you might.
You tell me.
You just have to agree with me. And then there was a couple of other things there. But is it true that you were in The Fifth Element?
Yes.
Right.
Itty bitty role. And it's a shame because a lot of the scenes that I did were cut shorter. Right. But when the cops fly in on their floating car and they order a McDonald's.
Right.
I was one of the McDonald's waitresses with red hair and in roller skates, and I'm
going to be completely honest about The Fifth Element. I've only ever seen that once, and I was on an airplane, and we were coming back from our holiday, and I fell asleep during watching it, and I woke up, and when I woke up, I think there was an alien singing on stage. And I just thought, no, I'm not getting into this now. So I went back to sleep. And that's the only time, and I've never got around to revisiting it.
Oh, no.
But now I know that you were definitely in it. I'm going after it. You
won't see me. You won't see me. But I was there. I'm in the credits still.
Right. Oh, no, that's cool. That's look, it's on your CV, isn't it? It works. That's okay. And then, obviously, you've mentioned Hollyoaks, but there was a program I have to ask you about this, in 1999 called Agony. Can you explain what that was about? Because the premise of it seems quite interesting. But if you could just explain sort of what that one was.
Sure. Yeah, it's quite funny actually because they had a panel of guests. They had guests and a panel who, like the Agony aunts,
right?
And people would write in with their problems, but they were always kind of strange and just bizarre problems.
Yeah.
Like my boyfriend prefers to sleep with his hamster instead of me. Things like that. So kind of tongue in cheek. So I don't know if they were real problems or made up, but they were really funny and interesting. And they'd have the Agony aunts sort of giving advice or debating, giving different advice. But in between that, there'd be the scenes, of whatever the letter or problem was about. And there were a bunch of us actors that would act out the issue and play the characters in it. So I have fond memories of it because I was always playing something off the wall. Like I played a ladyboy in it once.
Right.
Quite funny. Ladyboy. I was like, that's the first for my career. Yeah. Things like that.
Yeah. Okay. And then just moving on just a little bit from then. So, it went out in 2000, but obviously 1999 comes around, and that's when you join Grange Hill.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? How did that part in Grange Hill come about for you?
Just like most parts, my agent and manager, stroke manager, gave me a call, said the Grange Hill are auditioning. We want to put you up for the role of Briony Jones, which was, if you look at the name, not necessarily an Asian part.
Yeah.
So I felt very, very honoured that I was picked out of quite a larger pool of actresses than I'm normally up against. My casting bracket's quite specific. So yeah, I mean, I auditioned, met the director, met none of the other actors were there. I had to read with the casting director, and yeah, it was pretty straightforward. It was just, I think I had one recall, maybe. I can't remember, it's so long ago. And then that was it. I was in. But my original contract was for 3 weeks.
Right.
Or was it? Wait a minute, not 3 weeks. 3 months. 3 months. Sorry. Right. 3 months, which then was extended, and in the end, I did 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lucky.
I mean, I don't mean to sound rude in any way here. When you joined Grange Hill, you were obviously, and not obviously, no, you obviously just the word they use, not obviously. You were older than Briony was supposed to be. So I'm guessing you weren't watching Grange Hill at the time. It wasn't necessarily a program you might have been watching at the time, but had you watched it when you were younger?
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was growing up. Yeah. So I knew Grange Hill, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to be in this. Definitely.
Okay. Like I say, I apologise for anything I've just said to you there, because it's. I mean,
no offence taken. Because you're right. It's true.
Because your introduction to Grange Hill, it wasn't the orthodox route that we would have met a character in Grange Hill, was it? Do you want to explain for anyone who might not have seen those episodes who your character was, what your character did? Sure.
So Briony is introduced into Grange Hill as a TV presenter who Nathan, lovely Nathan, played by the lovely Marcel McCullough, sees when he's, because Colin is also presenting Briony, they're best mates. He comes to the studio, he sees Briony, they have an awkward kind of meeting, and then she ends up going back to school, joins a sixth form in Grange Hill, and then their love story starts.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of besotted, isn't he, from the moment he sees Briony on the telly. and honestly, I think Marcel plays that role really, really well, doesn't he?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So you were a TV presenter with Colin, and like I say, like you've just said there, the love interest. You were given that love interest sort of straight away, wasn't it? It was like hitting the ground running, and you were straight in. And like you say, eventually they got together, and then Briony moved to Grange Hill. And you've already said that probably wasn't the original plan, was it? Because you were only supposed to be there for 3 months. So how did that extension then? How did that come around? How did that come about?
It was kind of seamless. It was just after my first bunch of episodes, it was like more scripts were sent in the post. My agent contacted me and said there's more, and it just gave me more and more scripts. It was like, just keep going. I suppose I'm doing a good job if I keep getting rehired. So and I loved it, and I loved the team, and everybody there is so lovely. So
excellent. So
very grateful.
One of the questions I normally ask people is, what was the relationship between the children and the adults like? But you were an adult playing a child, weren't you?
Yeah.
So, who were your friends? Who were you like close with or whatever while you were there? Did you spend more time with the adults than the child actors, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's funny when you say adult and children. It's like a lot of the adults we'd mess about as well. So there is no line. No, but I spent a lot of time with the people I filmed with. So my classmates in the in the story. So a lot of time with Naomi Osei-Mensah, who played Claire.
Yeah.
Vicky was played by
Emma.
Emma Willis, and Wayne, and Arnie, and there's the character names who you guys show, and so a lot of them guys, because we filmed together, and so after the first read through with the whole cast and the whole team, you kind of don't see everybody else anyway, because you're filming your scenes with your people, your partners.
Cool. Okay.
And of course, Marcel.
No, we can't leave him out. Was there anyone that you really enjoyed working with when you were on the program?
Gosh, all of them. I mean, the people I've just mentioned, but the boys were funny. The boys would make me laugh, and Kelly George would always make fun of me, like in between takes, trying to like make me corpse and things like that. And Colin Ridgewell, and like I said, Marcel. So because our storyline was quite funny as well, when he's trying to chat me up and making a mess of it. All those scenes, I have very fond memories of those, because in between takes they'd also be
that bit with Marcel, when Nathan's talking to Briony and he's talking about that program that he used to watch as a kid, and he hasn't realised that Briony was actually the kid on the program, and he's really laying into it, isn't he? And then you say, well, actually, that was me. Right, okay, well done, Nathan. So that was like sort of like your first series, and then the series 24 then comes around, and I was looking yesterday, and you were in all but one episode of series 24, and now that's quite that's quite an achievement, that, because I mean the likes of Todd Carty, Lee McDonald, they don't get they don't get that many episodes.
No way. No way.
Yeah, so
I didn't realise that.
I mean, what I like about series 24 is it does give the sixth form a lot of exposure, and it does deal with a lot of the stories. And what I like about it as well is it's not just in the school. There's a lot, like it does show the fact that kids who are 16 and 17 do go out, and they do go nightclubbing. Because I know when I was in sixth form, that was what we did every weekend, I mean, I couldn't do it till I was 18, because believe it or not, I looked like I was 12 until I was like 27.
Wow. Lucky you.
So and I kept thinking that was happening, and all of a sudden all my hair fell out. Anyway, we're talking too much about me now. Well, I mean, and so it did show, a lot of the fact that, they are going out and stuff, and they are becoming young adults. But what it also dealt with, and I think they did quite well, was a storyline that had been done years before, but not in the same way, was the racism. Because obviously you were involved quite a lot in those storylines, and it's quite, I don't know, it's quite harsh, because everyone, like there's a few different ethnic minorities in that series, and they're all dealing with racism in their own way. But there's a few people who, and they're all also, some of them are being racist as well. If you think that about the likes of Claire, seems to have a real, a real hard time dealing with a lot of different races. But also Briony's brother Steve came in as well, and he also didn't like the fact that Briony was going out with Nathan and stuff. How did it feel like when you're told that this is what you're going to be doing, this is what you're going to be, your character's going to be dealing with? How do you deal with something like that?
Well, you feel a great sense of responsibility, because you are mirroring real life for a lot of people. As an actress, though, because we saw that there were going to be fight scenes and all of that, it was like, oh, this is exciting, some real drama, something gritty to get into. So I enjoyed that in that respect. But like I said, you do realize that this is real life. A lot of people are going through this. This is going to either inspire or motivate or help people through this if they're going through it themselves. And actually, many years after I'd finished Grange Hill, I was, because thanks to social media, I was sent a direct message by a fan of Grange Hill who said, thank you for your storyline on Grange Hill, because I am a black man married to I think she's Filipina,
right.
wife, like just where my parents are from, my background as well, and they have two beautiful kids. And he was saying it really landed with him. Our storyline, it really meant so much to him because that's their reality as well. And I was like, wow, how powerful is art? You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I was honored to do it. I thought, what a great gift to be able to do something this serious.
The thing about Grange Hill at that time, a lot of people, when they talk about Grange Hill, a lot of people don't know about the later series and the later episodes, and certainly series 24 and series 25 to me stand up with some of the the earlier series and storylines, and especially when you watch that storyline, remembering that it's a kids TV program, and some of the language that gets used, you'd never get that on kids telly. You'd never get that on. I mean, people were saying, in the 80s when it was Gripper Stepson and people like that, some of the language then, that was bad. Don't get me wrong, but then if you watch these episodes again, I'm not going to use any of the language, but I couldn't believe that some of the language that got used in 2001, it's like it's harrowing stuff, isn't it? And as you say there, it's mirroring real life. It's what kids are going through. But the interesting thing with this was it wasn't happening in the school, was it? It was. I mean, they were grown fellas as well who were doing it, and it just shows that it is going on. It does go on, but it's handled really, really well. I thought they're not baby stepping around it, and they're showing the fact that people do get into fights and stuff, and things like that do go on. Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And Grange Hill has always been at the cutting edge, I think. We talk about it being a children's program, but it was shocking back then, and even now it's still making waves,
Yeah, definitely. Now, the other thing about series 24, this is a lot more lighthearted. This one, Briony ended up in a band with with Wayne and Arnie and Nathan and stuff. Now I know, obviously, I know that you do singing and things. What was that like to film? Because Peter Morton had been on, and he'd said that recording it was done in a mad rush. He said it was like he was told, "Oh yeah, where's your song?" And they were like, "What you're on about?" And they said the recording.
He wrote it.
It was done really quick. Yeah. Yeah. So what was it like doing those bits as well?
It was great. I mean, as a singer, I enjoyed it. I think poor Peter. I think it was him who wrote it, because he was the one with the guitar, and so he was. Yeah, and they would call rehearsal, and I would just kind of pop in. I'd learnt the choruses and that. It wasn't that much for me to do, I don't think. I think the pressure was on him more, because he had to compose the thing as well as perform it. But it was fun, and when we filmed the end of school show, it felt like we were a real band, because they had like flying cranes and like they use in concerts filming us. I thought, this is nuts. And we had an audience. It was great. And the song was fun as well.
Yeah, it was. Okay, and so that was series 24. Do you have any, before we talk about series 25, do you have any sort of your own favourite things that you were involved in?
Gosh, it was all good. Yeah, the presenting at the beginning, and then because it gets heavier towards the end. Before Briony dies.
Yeah, I would say.
Sorry, I was going to agree with you. I think that the happier times when Briony and Nathan were in love and all the fun. I like the courting. When he's trying to woo her. That was really funny when he keeps messing up and she just rolls her eyes. All of those scenes.
Okay, so then series 25. Now, Charlie Parker Swift, who was known as John Hudson, John Joseph, told me series 25 was supposed to be the end, and that was going to be it, and there was going to be no more Grange Hill after that. And series 25 we see a different side to Briony when because she starts planning for uni. She's going to be, in her mind, she's going to be going to uni she's going to be go the same place as Nathan. She's talking early on about how the fact that they are having a long distance relationship, but they're making it work. And then Vicky gets the the unconditional offer. So they said, well, why don't we go and I can get to see Nathan, and then all that. Do you want to explain what happens to poor Briony when they go to see?
Yeah, well,
Nathan?
Spoiler alert to anyone who's not seen it. But Briony catches Nathan being a naughty boy. He's got a girlfriend up there. So, yeah, obviously, Briony's heartbroken, annoyed and heartbroken, and breaks it off with him, which is really sad because they were such a cute couple.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, and then she spirals from there because she actually really did love him. And things just go from bad to worse. And
because she ends up, kissing Matt. Oh, poor Matt.
Poor Matt.
Poor Matt. It did become apparent really quickly that she wasn't really interested. She was just sort of, I don't know. She says she's having a laugh, doesn't she? She just wants to be a bit of a, just have fun. And Matt was besotted with Briony, and the way Briony was besotted with Nathan. I think, like she'd tell him that she was having a night in when really she was out with the girls, and he'd catch her on all that. Like he was
right.
Yeah, she wasn't very nice to him, was she? But as you said, she had a lot going on. And then it became apparent towards the end of series 25 that something wasn't quite right with Briony. Matt thought she was pregnant, and the rumor started flying around. But could you want to explain what actually happened? Like, another spoiler alert here, everyone.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I've been out for a long time, so if you don't know. Unfortunately, people think she's pregnant. People think there's something up with her, but they can't quite guess what. And then eventually Briony breaks down in the toilets to her friend Vicky that she's basically making herself sick. She's got bulimia. And she needs help. So Matt and Vicky try and get her some help, by which time we're at the end of the series, and unfortunately she never gets that help, because just as she's telling Matt, spilling her heart out, and actually having their first real connection, I feel, their first real moment, the school blows up. And unfortunately they're right there where the explosion happens. So.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, because in series 26 it's not talked about, it's not discussed what happened. What do you think happened to Briony?
Oh, I think she definitely died, because she was right in the building. They were right there. Yeah, you saw the whole building explode, all the windows pop out on the far side of the building, so let alone them being right in the middle. I think they would have perished, unfortunately.
Okay. Just going back to the eating disorder storyline, did you have to do any research or anything for that? Or was it just a case of, here you go, this is what you're doing? Yeah,
no, actually, thank you for asking. I was surprised, actually, when I joined Grange Hill, that I didn't know that it was such a team effort, because we had some input into storylines sometimes. And at the end of series 24, they asked us if we had any ideas. What do you want your character? How can we develop, or any suggestions for storylines? And I put that up as a suggestion. I went, well, how about an eating disorder thing? Because this is something that happens. Cool. So,
yeah. And so did you have to research that, or did you just get on with it? Did you research eating disorders and how people reacted and stuff?
Yeah, I research everything. Yeah,
right, always. Brilliant. Okay, no, that's excellent then. Okay, so end of series 25, which was supposed to be the end of Grange Hill, and as you said, there was definitely the end of Briony Jones. And because when I was speaking to Charlie, he said there was always rumours that Grange Hill was going to finish, and he said, and then he never knew. Some people didn't really know where they were going to stand. I suppose it was different for Briony because she was coming to the end of sixth form anyway, so she probably wouldn't have carried on and made the move. I mean, you wouldn't have made the move to Liverpool in that. Okay, so then after Grange Hill, as I 43 episodes for Briony there, like, as I say, 23, or was it 19 out of 20 episodes or something in one series? That's quite good going. Like,
Absolutely. I've learned something. Thank you for giving me the numbers.
So then, when Grange Hill finished, did you go straight into the theatre, or I mean, because there's a few bits. I know there's a few bits that you've done on telly since, but was it straight into theatre from Grange Hill?
It's never planned. Like, I never said, okay, now I've done TV, I want theatre next.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
I always just go up with my agent. He puts me up for everything, and I just go up for everything, and whatever happens, and I'll accept whatever role I feel most excited about. But what came up straight after that was South Pacific, the National.
Oh, right.
And to work with Trevor Nunn, who is, Trevor Nunn, Sir Trevor Nunn. I thought this is a great opportunity, and I'm back into the musicals again. I get to sing and dance and have a change. But I'm always open to everything. So it just happened that was what was available at the time, what I was offered at the time. So I did that straight after. And then it was during that, because I remember I was still doing that when the BAFTA Awards came up, and I had to, I went and met Todd Carty, and Grange Hill won the was it 25 years Lifetime Achievement Award?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I was there as part of representing the new cast.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yes. And so very, very honoured to help pick up that award.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Brilliant. And then I remember after that, then I had to go work the next day.
Right, okay.
Still tired from that event.
Yeah, okay. So then, as I say, there was a couple of bits then on television. You were in Lewis, which was Morse, wasn't it? The extension of Morse. And then you mentioned earlier on Coronation Street, 2 years apart, but it was the same character, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Continuing my doctor's being a doctor. That was quite. I mean, I could tell you a story about.
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah.
So it's quite personal, though.
All right, okay.
Your listeners might find it interesting. Because obviously Coronation Street is they film a lot and don't want the storyline. Well, same with most of the TV series out there. They don't want the storyline to be leaked. Right. Or ruined. It's all very, very much confidential. And I don't know if you know that when actors get their sides, which is their scripts for the audition, our names are printed across it. Right. So, so if we photocopied that or sent it out anywhere to the press, they'd know the source, right? Because our names are right on there, which is very clever, I think. Yeah. But when my agent sent me to audition for to the casting for Coronation Street, they were so protective over it that we couldn't read the script until we got there. So that's quite amazing. Yeah. So I remember going there on the train, and then there's quite a few of us in the waiting room being handed the script at the same time, opening a brown envelope and learning it really quickly. And then being called up one by one. And unfortunately, it's quite a sad story. Unfortunately for me at the time, my hubby and I had been trying to get pregnant for many years, and it just wasn't happening. And I had a lot of difficulty with that in my life. So I was heartbroken because we had just lost a baby that we spent a long time trying for. So I was really sort of still grieving and still processing that. It was very new to me. And then lo and behold, when I opened the script, guess what it was?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I remember going, oh my God, this is going to be difficult to do. Gutting. But also I really want to be in Coronation Street because it's Coronation Street and I really want this part. But whoa, this is hard. And then I went up there and I kind of said it to them. I said, look, I just to let you know, thank you for giving me this opportunity, but I'll do my best. But this is what my life is at the moment. Literally, what you've written is what I'm going through. And I remember them being so beautiful and wonderful and kind and apologizing to me. And I said, no, don't apologize. It's not your fault. And they said, well, we didn't realize that would happen if, and obviously, we didn't mean to upset anybody. And I said, no, it's fine. I'm not upset. And they said to me, would you be able to do it if we gave you the part? I said, absolutely. Don't let that get in the way. I said, it would be a gift, actually, if I got it. And then, of course, I got it.
Yeah.
And I just thought, wow, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's like, and that happens a lot, art imitating life and life imitating art. But that was one of the sad ones. But to me, it turned into something positive because I got art, and then I got Coronation Street on my CV. And I'm always happy when I go there. They're always so lovely, the whole team, and I just feel so blessed.
So when you went back for the second time, did you have to audition again, or was that just a case of no, we want the same doctor? Is that how that one worked? Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. And then you were in Doctors as well.
I had a string of playing, because I did commercial work as well. And for a while, I played a doctor like 4 times in a row. And I actually feel like a real doctor now.
Okay. So then if we talk a bit more then about your theatre career, because I know that is a massive, it's not just a job for you, it's a massive passion that you've got as well. So if you could just, talk us through sort of some of the things you've done, some of the, anything you're really particularly proud of. I mean, for me, it doesn't top working with you, Brenna, when you're 4 years old, I'm afraid. But if you can just talk us through that, because that'd be, I mean, that's something else that like.
Bless you, thank you. Well, Grange Hill, I think, well, they're all, you can't say what tops the other, but I think Grange Hill is amazing. But that's TV. I was going to say, Miss Saigon to me is a big part of my life, because I was mesmerized by it the first time I watched it. It just affected me so much, and obviously it's history as well, so it's not just some story, it's the Vietnam War happened, so again you have a responsibility to tell this story with gravitas and respect, but also I met my husband there.
All right. Okay.
So it's our true love story. I would watch him in the wings going, he's really good dancer, he's really nice. I'd tell him, and he'd be like, oh, and then he'd be watching me secretly in the wings, and and so there's that, and and man in uniform, the GI.
That's the main thing, isn't it?
No, but working with these amazing producers. Cameron McIntosh, who's the top producer in this country, in the world, and then the amazing composers Claude Michel Schomburg and Alain Boublil. It's just, to me, I just felt like it was such an honor. Every night I'd go on and enjoy doing it, and then just going, God, I can't believe this is happening. This is real. Because that was one of the shows that I went, I'm going to do that. I'm determined to do that, and I made that happen. I really audition for, in fact, my audition for that, I have a story for you again if you want. Because I was only 15 at the time, so I was obviously too young. I had not much, I was trained a little bit. Like I said, I'd done part-time work at Sylvia Young's, but I wasn't like a full-time trained actor, triple threat, not until I got into the Miss Saigon school. So previous to that, I didn't really have that much training, and I saw in the stage newspaper, I saw an audition, and it was an open audition, and it meant that I'd have to bunk school because it was on a school day. I was 15 years old, and I didn't tell anybody, right? I bunked school, left the house in my uniform, bye, and then went to the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, and bless my little heart, I didn't know what a West End audition was going to be like. So I walked in there, and suddenly I saw all these professionals, and they're adults as well, right, in their dance wear and stretching in second and in the splits and doing their scales and singing, and I was so scared, because there I was in a little business suit, because that's what I thought meetings were about. So I was like in a little, oh my God, a white shirt, a belt, and loafers, and oh my God, it was just horrendous. And I remember not being able to pick up the dance moves, being so nervous, and I just learned the song the night before from Les Mis. I mean, no one does, you wouldn't do that. I was 15 and I didn't know, and they must have seen something in me, because obviously I wouldn't have tried myself based on that audition. But they saw the determination, and they'd give me notes, and I'd take the notes on board, and I would really go for it. And that stage, I don't know if you've ever been to the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, It's huge. It's
Right.
one of the biggest in the West End. And so to travel, just even to walk from one side of the stage to another, it's tiring. So we'd have to like do these routines across the stage and really travel with the dance moves and, and it was knackering. And they saw me just going for it 110%, which is Renee style. I always go for stuff 100%.
Yeah.
And then I got it. I got into the school. They trained me up for 3 years, and I really worked hard on my voice and my everything, dancing, as well as going to normal school. So my schedule was nuts. I was just completely always working, if not at school, but on my craft. And then on my 18th birthday, I got into the show.
Brilliant.
That was my birthday present to myself.
just going back then to that audition. How did your parents react when you went home and told them what you'd done that day? Or didn't you tell them what you'd done that day?
No. I went home in my uniform. I didn't tell anybody. Because obviously also, if I didn't get the part, there would be no shame.
Yeah.
But obviously when I got into the school, I had to tell them. They're very proud.
Excellent. That's good then. So just moving on. So what is it that you're doing now with the musical theatre and stuff?
Right. Okay. So, thanks to the good old pandemic, I'm taking a little bit of a break from showbiz. I will be back, but I've because we didn't work. Most people didn't work for the last 2 years. So what I have been doing is I don't know if you know because we're friends on social media, but on the side, I also do sort of life coaching, inspirational, motivational talks and workshops. So during the pandemic, I kind of flipped into that mode more. And so I'm kind of finishing off what I started during the pandemic and making sure that that's grounded, and then I can come back and work on stuff. And also I was meant to be filming during the pandemic. I can't say what, but I had another TV series. Yeah, it was a TV thing. And unfortunately, the pandemic killed that. So no
sign of that coming back then?
Not that I know of, no.
Right.
Okay. So with all of that, I just thought I'm just going to focus on something else for now. But I'm not gone forever.
Right.
I'm just finishing off what I started, and then I can't wait to get into some juicy.
Yeah.
Juicy. I think TV. I'm kind of missing TV more at the moment. But I'm keeping my skills up by doing live streams every Wednesday. I'll let you know. Let me know.
Yeah,
I'll definitely. All my stuff. But yeah, I do live stream every Wednesday from home just to keep the singing up and to be the entertainer that I am until this business is set up.
Yeah, and so the live streaming then, because I've seen you doing that a couple of times. Do you take requests on that, or is that just you saying, right, this is what I'm going to do?
Bit of both. So sometimes I'll go and they have different. It's a website called Sessions Live, and I'll give you the handle in a minute if you want.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're every Wednesday, UK time, 8 p.m. every Wednesday, mostly, unless last 2 weeks I was ill. But that's when I'm on. So just once a week, I'll sing a whole load of songs, and sometimes they have festivals. So on those festivals, they have themes. So it's an 80s night or 90s night. And I forgot in saying that. Yeah, I haven't completely stopped working. My husband and I, we're both doing our businesses at the moment, you see. So his business is a company called That Entertainment Company, which I'm a co-producer on. So I help him produce shows. And one of our first shows, our main show, is a show called That 80s Night, which if you guys are Grange Hill fans, you're going to love it because it's all the songs from the 80s, right? I know you, Neil, you watched the original, right? So you'll love the 80s. Right? And so we created this show that we tour around and do gigs all around the country, and sometimes before the pandemic we were in Europe as well. So that's the other thing that I do. I gig with my husband and our different teams singing fabulous 80s songs, and it's a very interactive show. It's not just singing, it's like we get the party going and everybody joins in. Brilliant. Quizzes and everything.
Brilliant. One thing I did just want to ask you about all the shows and stuff you've been in, is it just it sounds like it's nothing, just the West End, or have you actually gone touring and you're around the world and stuff with the tours?
Good question. I've toured around the UK, I haven't done, no, I haven't done worldwide
Right.
tours. I know some of my friends, yeah, I don't want to be away from my husband and my It's really sad. And now I have a daughter. Oh, yeah, finish my story that I did say
Right,
earlier.
okay.
We did eventually have a child. I have a
Brilliant.
5-year-old now.
Wow.
So, yeah, happy ending in the end. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
definitely.
kind of don't like leaving home for too long. It's really difficult because my husband also toured a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very difficult because we're both touring. We'd never see each other.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're just coming up sort of towards. Oh no, here's a question. Right.
Uh-oh.
Going back to Grange Hill. Okay. The last few questions here. This is not
Okay.
normally one of my last questions, but recently there's been talk of a Grange Hill movie. Right. If you were asked, would we see a return of Briony Jones to that?
Of course.
Brilliant.
Yeah, if they asked me, I would say yes in a
Brilliant.
heartbeat. I would be honored.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What
So,
are your thoughts of them doing a Grange Hill movie?
oh, I think that would be amazing. I think a lot of people would want it. A lot of
Yeah.
people would watch it. And a lot of us would want to do it. Yeah, it would be an amazing grand reunion.
Yeah, wouldn't it just? Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I went to the, was it the 40th anniversary
Yeah.
one? Yeah, a few years ago, and I sang an 80s song.
All right.
I sang like a prayer, to
Uh-huh.
help out. It was for the Good Grief Trust,
Yeah.
which, so yeah, I met a lot of the original cast there. I remember being starstruck myself, and just saying to them, "Oh my God, you're amazing!" And they're like, "You're amazing," and I'm like, "What? I watched you. You didn't watch me." And then, but the Rolly, he was like, "You're a great actress." I was like, "You watch me as well." I was just blown away. So we actually watch each other and respect each other. And I made so many friends that night. The original cast are beautiful.
Yeah.
I was just gutted that a lot of my cast weren't there. Yeah, not enough of us were there.
Right. But you were there flying the flag, so that's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
That's okay. Okay. So as I say, we are sort of coming up just towards the end, and I've got just a few questions which are all Grange Hill related. Okay. So
Right.
I mean, you've said that you watched Grange Hill. This is where this is where you can prove it now. Okay.
Oh no, don't quiz me.
It's not a quiz.
Scared.
It's not a quiz. But other than Briony Jones, who is your favourite character in Grange Hill?
This is just this is my inner child talking now. Faye.
Yeah.
Because I just thought she looked like a princess. I was a child at the time, so I was like, she's a princess and she's beautiful. I want to be her.
Yeah.
Right? And then, like I said, on the 40th anniversary, I actually met her. And I remember saying that to her. I regressed to an 8-year-old. I was like, "You're so beautiful." And her answer was, "What are you talking about? Look at you see me in the mirror." I was like, "Yeah, but you." She's lovely in real life as well. So yeah, just because she's beautiful, but she's a great actress as well. Yeah. And what was the question? My favorite, Todd Hardy as well, of course, because he's Todd Hardy.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone loves him.
And if you couldn't have played Briony Jones, was there another character in the program who you would have liked to have played?
Ooh, that's a really good question, Neil.
Thanks.
Oh, do you know, it would probably be Danny because he gets to ride on his motorcycle and be a bad boy.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a bad girl.
Yeah. Danny Hartson, wasn't it? Yeah, Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a bad boy, but he wasn't really, was he? Everyone thought
no,
he was.
he wasn't, but you think he'd vote,
Yeah. He had that. Yeah, he was.
They thought he was a bad boy. He was misunderstood.
He was. Okay. Okay, then. So the last question, Renee. Why do you think there's still such a huge affection for Grange Hill?
Wow, that's another good question. I don't know actually, because it's really long lasting, isn't it? I think TV series come and go, and there's been a lot of really good ones as well. And Grange Hill is brilliant, but the longevity is incredible. I think you'd have to ask the fans, but if I had to guess, I think it's because storylines are so good and they're so relevant, and they're not afraid to go there. Like we said at the beginning, And I think people need that, to relate to, especially the children. They need to know that people, the issues that they're going through, people are going through them as well, so they're not feeling alone. We need more of that.
Definitely. And unfortunately, there isn't anything, is there?
No.
And I know when Children's BBC changed their policies and all children's BBC programs had to cater for under 11s, and that's when Phil Redmond's sort of said, "Oh, well, then there's no point in Grange Hill because that's not the audience for Grange Hill," and he couldn't do what he wanted to, and I think that was obviously why he pulled the plug on it. But no, that's it. I mean, that's as you say there. The storylines were relevant and they were groundbreaking, weren't they? I must use the word groundbreaking more than any other word when I'm on here.
But it's true. What other word? Yeah. What other word would you use? That is Grange Hill. It's iconic and it's groundbreaking. Those are the two words I would say about it. And that's why I'm so proud to be part of the family. No one can ever take that away from me. It's like, I am part of the Grange Hill family and I'm proud of that because it's a British institution, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. Well, listen, Renee, I nearly called you Briony then. Renee.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming on and giving up your time and
my pleasure, no problem.
Through your experiences and stuff. And hopefully we'll see a lot more of you on stage again soon.
I'll let you know.
But thank you so much for coming on. It's been great. And for anyone who's listening, I'll speak to you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Oh, bye, Neil. Thank you.
During this episode, Renee mentioned her live streaming. You can catch her at sessionslive.com/Ren's Jukebox every Wednesday at 8 p.m. UK time.